There we go. Start virtual cam. Hi. Hi. Hello. And welcome. So today I'm going to do that thing that I was kind of talking about. I have a bunch of booster packs from Bloomborough to current from Magic the Gathering, and I'm going to mix them all together. I've already shuffled them all together, and I'm going to roll a d20 to see how many cards we're going to pull, and it's going to be between 10 and 20. Usually it's like 12 or 14, I think, maybe 15. But we're going to do between 10 and 20, however many rolls it takes. I am going to give the deck another shuffle, cut it, and then pull that many off the top, face down, and we'll get into it like any other booster pack. So today the attempt, not the, well, I guess, yeah, the attempt is to get a new story with the same cards. Kind of, sort of. Kind of, sort of, kind of, sort of. So I was like, yeah. Excuse me. Okay. So I'm shuffling the deck, right? And as I'm done doing the pre-shuffle, I see this at the top, and it's most of these are card backs, but there's this, and I'm like, what is this? Chaos Lord can attack the first turn it comes into play on a side, except the turn it first comes into play. And I'm like, what? And then I'm like, what's on the back of this? And I see the fish. I was like, wow, wow. And look, there are lotuses on it too. I was like, okay, haha, LOL, LOL. We got jokes today. But yeah, let's see what's up. I'm gonna give this a few more shuffles now, and then I'm gonna roll a d20. I was gonna roll another die, but I don't remember which one. I feel like it was like a d4. I was gonna roll a d4 for some reason, but I don't remember why. Also, happy full moon, Capricorn. 9. All right, so between I got this to roll into. There's the d20. It's like this rainbowy hematite almost. I've seen rainbow hematite. Anyway. Oh, of course it went into the back. It looks like 11. There you go. We got 11, which is interesting. So I've been seeing a lot of like 4s, 7s, and 11s, 3s, 8s, and 11s. Like my coffee today was 382. And I was like, 11. 3 plus 8 is 11. 11 is 1 plus 1 is 2. 2, 2, 4. Or I'll see like 47, 11. And it'd be like, well, 4 plus 7 is 11. So that's 11, 11. Anyway, we're going to pull 11 cards off the top. I'm going to keep them in the same order they're in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 11 is the number of justice that we saw yesterday. Or we saw recently. It wasn't the last one. It was the one before. And the 2011 of it all. The bottom of the bottom of the bottom is the Light Shell Duo. It's a rat otter creature. Lightning and snail as one, cried the rat. It's so beautiful, the otter gasped in awe. Oh, look. It's the element of water. Cool. There's that lightning, thunder energy again that has been nigh inescapable. All right. So I'll just do this how any other booster pack, whatever. I read the cards, read the flavor text, and hope for the best. I guess that's all I can do. Oh, it focused. Nice. All right. Let's see. First card. is Stormplane Detainment. When this enchantment enters, exile target non-land permanent and opponent controls until this enchantment leaves the battlefield. Elspeth saw their capture as an inconvenience, costing them precious time. Narset saw it as an opportunity to recruit allies to their cause. This one I actually remember the context of. It's interesting though. So after I opened this booster pack, I started listening to, I don't know if I started, but I was like Elspeth. And then in the audiobook series that I'm listening to, there's a character named Elspeth Arella. Well, I guess that's a context I didn't have before, right? So Elspeth was the spoiler alert of a spoiler alert and spoiler alert, spoiler alert. I guess you could say there's an energy behind Elspeth of overcoming one's circumstances, the circumstances that one was born into. But there's also an energy of manipulating narratives and the paths that we choose. The paths that we choose and the sacrifices that we make. Um, Sacrifice almost more in terms of moral sacrifice. Now, what's interesting in this series is the amount of times where it's like in the presence of like existential threats and crises, sometimes you have to work with someone that was an enemy before, or um, someone that is an enemy and will be an enemy in the future. And it's knowing like when to put it aside because of a greater threat, right? Like if there are two people competing for a position, excuse me, if there are two people competing for a position in a company, it doesn't matter if the company goes belly up. You know what I mean? Type of energy. Now, Stormplane Detainment is interesting because we just saw the thunder, lightning and snail, right? Thunder and lightning, and then here's the storm planes. I could do this different than how I usually do it. I have the rest of this deck. So clean flip or clean fall these storm planes. Right? Usually it's the next card. Dynamic Diver. Launch the explosives. No, you idiot, not like that. Redshift, Rocketeer Chief. This creature saddles, mounts, and crews vehicles as though its power were too greater. When this creature dies, it deals 1 damage to any target. Where are we going? Oh, I can do it like that. This is something greater. The energy of that dynamite diver. I mean, it's talking about launching explosives, dealing damage when it's taken out. It's almost like someone is seeking something and they end up in a larger conflict. And it doesn't even necessarily have to be conflict. The scope of something is bigger than someone thought it was, but it's almost like a newcomer. Doesn't necessarily have to be a newcomer. It could be a newcomer to an arena or whatever, a space. Maybe they get there by like happenstance or maybe it's something that they've been actively searching for. But it's like when you finally get there, like there's a whole bunch of stuff like going on or happening, right? Like again, low hanging fruit, easy metaphor. Like there's a company that someone's always wanted to work at, and it's like been their dream for however long, right? Let's say they finally get hired. Maybe they're young when they dream of it. They go through education, training, whatever. They do whatever they need to do. They get the job, and then it's like they get into the company and something is like happening or something is going on to the point where like they don't even get the typical onboarding experience because they like come in right into the middle of things. And I almost wonder if it is the chaos of what's happening that is the detainment on the storm plane, right? Like maybe everything that's happening and going on alone is enough to arrest someone. Um, or maybe like there is an active like component to it. Next is the splash portal. Exile target creature you control. Both of these talking about exile, right? Or was that? Yeah, when this enchantment enters, and they're from different decks. When this enchantment enters, exile target non-land permanent and opponent controls. Exile target creature you control, then return it to the battlefield under its owner's control. If that creature is a bird, frog, otter, or a rat, draw one card. It's interesting that it mentions these because so this is Bloomborough. Um, we had both the otter and the rat. Well, they were at the bottom. Now Run Away Together is at the bottom. Oh, it looks like an otter and a frog, maybe? And frog is also in here. This is the bottom of the deck now. Can you see that? Ooh, it's shiny. Don't ask me how it works. If I stopped long enough to question it, I'd lose my legs. Lorb, frog folk wizard. What is happening? So Lord, we can see is at like in the portal. There's the front of Lord, and there's his legs in the back. So again, it's like if he stopped, the portal would close and his legs would be on the other side. This is like so much chaos. I'm 2 cards into 11, and it just feels like so chaotic. This portal. Also, we don't have any creatures. We have an enchantment and we have a sorcery. I mean, we're only 2 out of 11 in. So we saw the Chaos Lord at the bottom. Well, I guess it was the top of the deck. It was face down, but it was on the back of the card. And the Chaos Lord, I'm gonna just pull it out real quick. It's easy when I'm looking at the card backs because most of them are, plain. There's a few double-sided tokens. Um, where's that fish? Where is that slippery fish? So it's like someone finds themselves in the storm plane. There it is. Chaos Lord can attack the first turn it comes into play on the side. See, even that on a side, like either your side and opponent's side, and it can attack the first turn it comes into play, except the first turn that it comes into play. With this splash portal, and I guess we got a frog and a fish. The fish is like bird, frog, otter, or rat, right? You could exile the Chaos Lord and then return it, and it's like when it returns, it would be able to attack. Again, with the audiobook that I'm listening to as a sort of reference, everything that I've seen or heard is up for grabs when it comes to interpreting whatever. Usually there's an element of disorientation when someone like goes through a portal. Now, you can train your body so that the reaction becomes less and less extreme. But it's like Celestines and Outworlders um, usually have some kind of astral immunity, astral magic resilience, so they can go through a portal and be completely unaffected. And earlier in the series, like there was a portal that, or someone teleported to attempt to save the life of someone, but even her own power, like because she didn't have that astral magic affinity, there was like that split second disorientation that she experienced that kept her from acting immediately. And also, it disoriented the defender, and it didn't go well for the defender. Why am I talking about this? Oh, because it can come into play. Like you can exile it, it comes back to the battlefield, and it's immediately ready to act. Both of these also imply like different sides, right? Exile target creature you control, then return it to the battlefield under its owner's control. So it's almost like there's an implication that you could control a creature that is not yours, that you are not the owner of. And then, like, on a side, it's not like it can attack the first turn it comes into play on your side. And I was like, does this even the first turn it comes into play, except the turn it first comes into play? I'm like, wait, are these all gonna have bonus cards? But anyway, the chaos of this is like, so there's the storm. It's like I guess it's like an eye of a storm, right? Again, it's like you go into something, everything is chaotic, but it's almost like there is a zone of peace or something. Next, we have the Starscape Cleric, which is a bat cleric. Offspring, you may pay an additional cost as you cast the spell. If you do, when this creature enters, create a 1/1 token copy of it. It's a flying creature that can't block, and whenever you gain life, each opponent loses 1 life. This is that play of like light and dark again. That we've been seeing. It just seems like a lot of things at play. Like there are a lot of forces at play. And the splash portal, like it's, I don't know, there's an apparent immediacy to it. Right, because again, with the storm planes detainment, it feels like maybe optimistically going into something, and then it's just like complete chaos. And before you even get time to like comprehend what's happening, the splash portal opens. And it's like another, even if it's helpful, it's just like another thing that's happening, another thing that's going on. And in the flavor text itself, it's like it doesn't have time to explain. It's like either you go now or like whatever, because the portal is open and it's going to close. And I'm not trying to lose my legs. I'm not trying to lose an arm. I'm not trying to lose my head. Like it's open. You got to move. And then like I feel like unholy nights or like a thing, but it's like a holy night. Is that silent night? Silent night, holy night. Something that's like typically associated with like not being good is a tool of the divine or an aspect of it here. And it plays antagonistically to those in opposition, right? When you gain one life, every opponent loses. When you gain life, every opponent loses one life. Am I going to put a card on every single one of these? I'm going to go from 11 to 22. I don't know if this antagonistic relationship is real or perceived. I guess I don't necessarily have to. I'll give it one more. Agate Assault. Only an amateur crushes their enemies with a cold rock. Is at the bottom. Nothing came out. This reminds me of the cosmic egg in the wild unknown animal spirits. Maybe because it's like it reminds me of that cosmic egg. Excuse me. The next card is the friendly ghost. See, we got these like light ghosts and dark clerics. In life, Marcus. Oh, this isn't the double-sided one. Okay. I remember this one too. In life, Marcus had been a devoted guide of new arrivals. Death simply made it easier to get around. When friendly ghost enters, target creature gets +2/+4 until end of turn. +2 toughness, +4, +2 power, +4 toughness. See, we got this. The Starscape Cleric, the Friendly Ghost. Both of them, well, one of them creates a token, the other one empowers. A devoted guide of new arrivals. And then we have the splash portal that opens up like immediately. So she's giving new arrival energy. I mean, the Starscape, our star plane detainment with Elspeth and Narset, they're new arrivals to the storm planes, right? Was that yesterday? I don't know why. Casper's like, "Come with me if you want to live." Like, popped into my head. And it's almost like that energy. An energy that's the same in life and death. It's like a bridge. I don't know if this is what do you call them? It's not like a treatise. Is it? Is it a treatise? Come on, I clicked it. Definition, thank you. A written work dealing formally and systematically with the subject. Okay. Can I get more definitions? Maybe not. It could be. I don't think it's armistice. Excuse me. Is it armistice? An agreement made by opposing sides in a war to stop fighting for a certain time. A truce. Yeah, so it's like an armistice. Almost like armistice energy, where there's like a neutral ground in this. Next card is the Rush Shield Rampager. You can create a 1/1 token copy of this if you pay for it. This creature can't be blocked by creatures with 2 power or less. This Raccoon Warrior. Oof, this one may be a chop. Girlies. Because whatever this is, there's an energy of something working towards resolution. Right. And again, kind of sort of going off that energy of like even enemies become allies with armistices and truths, um, agreements that are made to put certain things aside for whatever reason. It's like both sides are in mutual agreement, but you could say there's like an extreme faction on one or the other. Probably both. More often than not, both, but it can be one or the other. That like yields no concession. Now, because the friendly guide is here, it's almost like there is a decision or a conclusion that one should be able to naturally like arrive to, right? She's almost giving like anti-monopoly, not necessarily, but it's like, before you make a choice or decision, you should be able to be informed on both sides of a situation. And then whichever one aligns more for you, then that's where you go, right? So it's like Hogwarts, but instead of a sorting hat, like you get to tour all of the different little houses or whatever. You get to know what they're about, and then you choose where you go. It's like a holy alliance, a holy night. It's like, again, that's with the Starscape cleric. It's like there are these like unholy alliances and unholy this, unholy that, but it's not unholy, it's holy. And maybe that's why this rampager energy is here too. Because if someone were to see that what they view as unholy or what they've been taught to like fear or whatever, if they were to see that it's not actually what they think it is, it would cause cracks in like the greater narrative and the greater illusion. And in order to stop that from happening, like the armistice is violated by this more extreme faction or these more extreme factions. Undergrowth leopard vigilance. Sacrifice this creature, destroy target artifact or enchantment. There are those who develop peculiar tastes after generations of dining upon the remains of interclan rivalry. Look at that. So, right when we have this, what was it? Rust Shield Rampager, there's the truth behind it. This undergrowth leopard that feasts upon interclan rivalries. So, it's exactly this energy. So I guess you could say that like all of the chaos in the beginning is the world that we're born into, way. But the splash portal is there. Jade Cast Sentinel. Put target card from a graveyard on the bottom of its owner's library. Set in motion by artificers long forgotten, it remained loyal through the ages to the occupants of Keru City. These are in the same booster pack set, and you can tell the symbol is the same. That symbol there is the same. Because I remember these came out in the same. The Stormplane, Elspeth, and Narset were looking for Keru City, where they could find these Jade Cast Sentinels. And here it is again. See, this is like the Wakanda of it all. The Eye of the Storm. Keru City is like this place of peace that has existed for a very long time, despite the interclan rivalries and politics and chaos of like the greater world. And again, in like the Wakanda of it all, it's remained isolated. It's remained non-involved. Now, personal interjection. It's almost like there comes a time when either Keru City becomes involved because whatever is happening is like it's gone too far, and either it is in danger of encroaching upon the peace of Keru City, or something or someone in Keru City looked outside and saw that it was a mess and is choosing to engage in the chaos because of all the good that can be done, to not leave the outside world, the external world, to its own devices and demise. Because again, like the energy of the armistice is here. There is an energy of armistice here. But there are forces that are actively invested in chaos and war that actively work against peace, because again, in peace there is the potential for communion, communication, understanding, and the challenging of narratives that create cracks in the facade of whatever illusion that's had like these forces working against each other for so long. Oh my gosh! I never thought that leopards would eat my face. I never thought the leopards would eat my face, and here's the undergrowth leopard. LOL, OMG. If you know, you know. If you don't, it's fine. The leopards eating people faces party. And then there's the hungry leopard waiting for the folks to distract themselves so that they can snatch a face or two. We only got like 3 cards left. Next, enter the Enigma. Target creature can't be blocked this turn. Draw a card. Though she was used to stepping into the unknown, something about this strange doorway made the wanderer shiver as she crossed the threshold. I love that we see her again because I'm pretty sure she's in a different booster pack set. Yeah, she is. The symbol is different than the splash portal, but one is like a doorway. And you could assume that because the portal is set within a door frame, there's a certain permanence to it that this splash portal that's about to chop off these legs like doesn't have, even though she's got like one arm in there. Also, this creature can't be blocked. With this sorcery, a creature can't be blocked. The thing about the Rush Shield Rampager is that it couldn't be blocked by creatures with power 2 or less. Right? Hold up. Am I thinking? I feel like I'm not. I guess attacking the Rush Shield Rampager is different than like defending. Okay. I got a little bit ahead of myself. I thought this would negate the conditions on blocking the Rush Shield Rampager. But with this Enter the Enigma not being able to be blocked, this is a phenomenon that can't be stopped. That can't be interrupted. This is another reason why the Undergrowth Leopard energy, the energy of the Undergrowth Leopard, violates the armistice. It's almost like inalienable rights. I feel like I said that word real weird. Like there are certain things that there are certain resources, there are certain things that are inviolable. There are certain things that are absolute. There are absolute powers. And this goes back to the whole the cards that came out around Neptune retrograding, where on one side it was like copper, on the other side it was Pluto, and it was the realm of undeniable power, right? But because of situations, circumstances, narratives, things like that, old paradigms, old ways of living, thinking, doing, being, paradigms of decision making, those inalienable, inviolable, undeniable things seemed a lot more mundane and a lot less powerful because of, again, the narrative that was maintained, because of the chaos of everything that's happening. But entering the Enigma cannot be stopped. It cannot be blocked by any means. And it feels different than anything else. Like she's used to stepping into the unknown. Though she was used to stepping into the unknown, something about this strange doorway made the wanderer shiver as she crossed the threshold. It's almost like there are portals and there are gateways and there are fail safes built within the system to give the illusion of freedom or the appearance of freedom. Right? It's like having a dream within a dream. It's like Inception meets the Matrix. But like let's say that the Matrix happens 3 layers into the dream. And so when you break out of the Matrix, you're in the second layer of the dream. So like still within the system of the Matrix, just a different sublevel or category of it. But the enigma is to like truly escape. And that escape feels like, again, it feels different to any other portal or whatever. Now you could say, I don't know if the Jade Sentinels are necessarily going to leave through this doorway, or if Keru City opens up through these doorways, right? And that's a difference too. There's a difference between something being accessible and available and something like intervening, right? There's a difference between someone like, I am going to provide you shelter and food and anything you need, and them like actively intervening on your behalf. Impossible Inferno. Impossible Inferno deals 6 damage to target creature. Delirium. If there are 4 or more card types among cards in your graveyard, exile the top card of your library. You may play it until the end of your next turn. No living being, survivor, or monster is exempt from Valgavoth's wrath. This Impossible Inferno, it gives me the energy of the sun that came out last time. The sun that could incinerate things that are immune to or born of fire. The water that could drown the fish. Oh, the Chaos Lord is on the other side of the fish. The moon that could drown the fish. The sun that could incinerate that which is immune to fire. And it's interesting that we started with fire and water in a way. We had the dynamite diver before that splash portal, and then we have water and fire here with Enter the Enigma and Impossible Inferno. Again, it feels like the Impossible Inferno, it plays into the can't be blockedness of Enter the Enigma. Also, we see these creatures in the Rush Shield Rampager and the Undergrowth Leopard, but these Jade Cast Sentinels are artifact creatures. They're not truly alive. No living being, survivor, or monster is exempt from Valgavoth's wrath. The Sentinel would be immune or exempt from that because although it's a creature, it's an artifact creature. It is not truly alive. Now that feels like it almost plays into that whole there are forces of Earth and then there are forces beyond Earth. Right? And there are forces on Earth that position themselves to be beyond, but they're not. To the everyday person, I mean, they may as well. It's almost like the gap could effectively be large enough that it's like basically the same, right? It's like if you go from low hanging fruit, if you go from nothing. Hey David, how you doing? If you go from nothing to like millions of dollars in a relatively short period of time, like that's more money than you know what to do with, and it's more money than you ever thought you'd see. And so to the person who is used to lack, there is relatively no difference between like tens of millions and hundreds of millions, or like between tens of millions and billions. Like billions are like significantly more than tens of millions, but to the person that doesn't have like a scale, a knowing of a scale of like whatever, they're effectively like the same. They both exist within the realm of um, impossibility, or both exist within the realm of beyond one's imagination. Right. Now, a billionaire would be able to tell you, and millionaires may know, but no one else would. Of course, in the metaphor, okay? And again, like that's the metaphor of like what a truly divine sort of like power would be versus an earthly power. Or like either entities or like individuals and like actions, right? It's almost like with the algorithm, right? Someone, and this is no tea, no shade. I ain't coming for nobody. It's just like the algorithm is what the algorithm is. YouTube is what it is. Social media is what it is. Like there's a difference between like an algorithm picking up a video and pushing it out and it going viral because whatever definition of viral is, however content is being consumed at that time, that's one thing. But for like things to truly um, sort of like find their audience is another. I don't know how good of a metaphor. You know what I mean? But it's like things through synchronicity, just pure chance, something finding its audience is different than like algorithm games. It just is. The algorithm would be an earthly force, synchronicity would be a divine one. But the divine is the only thing that would survive Valgaboth's wrath, the only thing that would not be incinerated by the impossible inferno. This combination of cards, there's a specific ability, and it's a healer's ability, interestingly enough, within the series of audiobooks that I'm listening to. It pulls the healer and their team into a pocket dimension and unleashes like floods an area with death energy. So they're safe in the pocket dimension while death energy is like wreaking havoc and like stepping into this enigma while the impossible inferno is like spreading creates haven safety. So even if someone is alive, is a living creature, even if someone would typically ordinarily be incinerated, they would be perfectly fine in that enigma. Skull Snap Nuisance. Now we have an insect skeleton creature. Eerie. Whenever an enchantment you control enters, and whenever you fully unlock a room, surveil one. Look at the top card of your library. You may put it into your graveyard if you don't like it. Girl, what's this? Not the insect skeleton creature. Not some antagonistic force of being like, oh, undergrowth leopard can't get in. Undergrowth leopard to be burned up. Rush shield rampager to be burned up. Okay, well here is an unliving insect skeleton creature. I don't know. Does the Impossible Inferno differentiate between unliving and living creatures? Right? Like, would it incinerate zombies because they're like undead? Let's get one. Will it burn up or not? Let's see. I want a clean flip or clean fall. Usually I would let it go. I mean, I guess that's a flip. Bottom of the deck, Sky Skipper duo, a bird frog duo, another duo. I don't know how to swim, said the bird. That's okay. I don't know how to fly, laughed the frog. Oh, look, it's Lorb. Is that Lorb? Is this Lorb that is like running on these little water balls in the sky next to the bird? You see that? But this time the bird's holding the staff rather than Lorb. I'm loving all the duos. Seize Opportunity and Swamp are the cards that came out. So the unliving may be able to make it through They won't be incinerated. Because just like the artifact creatures void the living part of living beings, so too would the undead reanimated insect skeleton, because it's not living. And it's not that there won't be another wall or failsafe. What's the last card in this? Ravine Raider Menace. This creature can't be blocked except by 2 or more creatures. Ravine Raider gets +1/+1 until end of turn. The path to the Cliff of Heroes is rife with bandits, expertly camouflaged in the dense flora of Valley. This is Bloomburrow. For sure. I don't remember what that other thing was. I'm pretty sure. I don't know, girl. That's just like more annoying than anything. I don't know if that's maybe because we're human. We are always learning, growing, evolving, changing. A lot of things won't necessarily be perfect, right? Even for the person that goes from a certain lack to the abundance of millions, now that person has to like learn how to manage money. Maybe like taxes are different and social dynamics and interactions are different. Um, it's like there are other hurdles to overcome, there are other lessons to learn. And ultimately, ultimately the insect skeleton skull snap nuisance, like it's a nuisance. It's not necessarily a threat. It isn't necessarily dangerous. It's like annoying more than anything. So even if it's not incinerated by the impossible inferno, she's giving the imp or imps. In numbers, they become like a real problem, but individually, they're just like annoying. I don't think it came up here. I was like, what did I hear something like that? Excuse me. But ultimately, some of that sometimes like builds, like we are partially defined by the things that we overcome because they inform the person. Oh, wait. They inform the people that we become. Yeah. We are partially defined by the challenges that we overcome because they inform the people that we become. The path to the cliff of heroes is rife with bandits. And it's like the path to becoming an accomplished whatever involves overcoming whatever. Like to be an accomplished hero, sometimes you got to do heroic things. And how do you perform acts of daring do and heroism if there is no bandit or troll or difficulty? There's purpose behind the nuisance. Excuse me. But that nuisance, compared to the chaos that was at the top of this, it's like minor, right? It's be careful what you wish for because you just might get it. But it's also like wishes may bring problems such that you regret them. Better that though than to never get them. So it's like it's better to learn to manage and adjust to abundance than subjectively. It is subjectively better. Maybe it's not universally and globally better. It is subjectively, at least circumstantially, better to have to adjust to abundance than to continue existing in lack. It's like an energy of good problems. Like too much of something is a better problem to have than not enough, depending on the thing. I feel like I don't have to do that as much as I feel like I have to, you know? It's like obviously it's not an absolute statement. Obviously, there are going to be circumstances and situations where less is better, right? Less pain, less hunger is generally thought of like as a good thing. And I don't know because I'm looking at like the splash portal and enter the enigma. And it's an energy of like maybe it's one of those things in hindsight that we see as like the opportunity that it was, or we see the truth of something in hindsight. And maybe at that point it's easy to go like, oh well, if I had known this, or if I would have saw that, or if I would have taken this chance and opportunity, gone down this path and route, made this decision versus another, then my situation would have changed a long time ago. And it's like sometimes that is to be offered but not taken. Or there's an expectation that even if we're exposed to something, we may not take it because we don't realize the value of what it was at the time. Right. So, yeah, excuse me. Maybe that's what this is. Maybe this isn't a whole like big eye roll, like, what is this? Maybe it's just like, even if things were to change and improve drastically and dramatically, there are still going to be inconveniences in life. There are still going to be challenges. There are still going to be things to learn. But some problems are good problems to have, right? It's that pussycat dolls into the woods energy of be careful what you wish for. I've already said it, but be careful what you wish for because you just might get it, which is making problems such that you regret them. Better that though than to never get them. Technically, into the woods kind of like surmises it enough, but the focus is just like slightly different. Cool. And the nuisance, this skull snap nuisance could be um, anything. Like this could be things that play at the back of your mind. It could be like doubts, worries, insecurities. Like, am I doing the right thing? Am I this enough? Am I doing that enough? Am I whatever, whatever? Like this is all new to me. Like it's again, it's within the realm and parameters of expectation. If someone were to go through a drastic change, no one is expected realistically to be perfect the first time they do something. Cool. That's good. I'm gonna give it three more shuffles. I feel like I want like one more. Ooh. No flip or fall. Bumbleflower share pot. I may have overestimated the portions. When Bumbleflower's share pot enters, create a food token. You can sacrifice it to gain 3 life. Sacrifice Bumbleflower share pot, destroy target non-land permanent, activate only as a sorcery. So you can get 3 life in this Bumbleflower share pot. Oh, like this is the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. Yeah, I love it. And look, now there's a shiny Rush Shield Rampager. Here's the shiny pot of gold at the end of the rainbow and a shiny Rush Shield Rampager right behind it. But this shiny Rustfield Rampager, it plays into the narrative in the story. Um, because of the Holy Knight, because of the Holy Alliance, of the Starscape Cleric. Whenever you gain life, each opponent loses 1 life. You take the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow, it creates this food token that you can use to get 3 life. You gain 3 life, opponents lose 1 life. And then that's why I'm like, okay. That's why there's a shiny Rush Shield Rampager here. And the fruit hangs so low, it's like sometimes I feel like I don't even have to pick it, right? That could be anything. In a world where value and worth, even self-worth and self-value, self-love, self-respect, how even those things could be so easily comparative, right? Where, and maybe that's the thing too, right? Because I feel like a lot of times when we are engaging with the energy of gratitude, the attitude tends, the approach to the attitude of gratitude tends to be like, I could have it worse. I could be worse off, right? There are people over here that don't have this. There are people over there that don't have that. Like, there are people in worse situations than me. So I should be grateful for what I do have. And it's like, if our worth, value, worldview, viewpoint is centered around based upon, well, like at least I have it better than this person, and at least I have it better than that person, and at least I'm not going through this. Well, what happens when this person and that person gets their share of the food from the share pot? Now they're gaining life, they're going up in life, things that are happening for them, and now what was this tool to be used to approach gratitude now is so easily like reverted or whatever, right? Well, at least I'm not struggling like my one friend. And now that friend just like got a new job and they're moving and met like the love of their life and everything is going really well in their life. And it's like, wow, well, now they're doing better than me. Like, so I am blah, 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 whatever, whatever. And it's like, that's how this could so easily become like antagonistic, right? When one person gains life, others lose it. When one person's doing well, now everyone else is doing bad because, again, a lot of the self stuff is comparative. And that's how like friends can sometimes become enemies or like haters. It's not necessarily intentional, or it's not necessarily like super conscious. It just like happens, right? Like I know this person and I know that person, and they're like doing whatever. I don't know. It can be weird. I feel like in my personal life, I've had friends, I've known people who have viewed me in a certain way. And then it's like for example, there are only 3 people from my high school that went to Purdue, right? All my life, people have seen me as like super smart or whatever. People used to think I was rich. And I'm like, girl, I remember in high school, somebody was like, well, we're not all rich like you, Patrick. I was like, what? You think I'm rich? Girl, I skipped lunch over the course of like a year so I could $1, $2, $3 my way to this game that I knew was coming out. It's called a pre-order system, girl. I went hungry. I starved, okay? Because I wanted this game, I sacrificed for the things that I want. And with time and preparation, I was able to get it. It's not because I'm rich. You know what I mean? And it would be different if like I'm eating lunch and you're not eating lunch. But girl, sometimes your lunch is bigger than mine. Hello? You getting extras here and there. Anyway, people have this perception of me, and there have been a few interactions where, like, let's say I am wherever I am in life, or somebody is where they are, and they'll reach out to me and be like, "Oh, well, like I'm doing this and I'm doing that," with this whole like, "Oh, like." Colleges and universities, oh, like all the debt and like all this, all that. Well, how useful is your degree now that like you whatever, like are you even using your blah 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 whatever? And it's like, but that's the thing about people with like, that's just the thing about people in general. I never assert myself, hardly ever assert myself over anybody. I feel like the only time I would is if like people treat other people like garbage. And then it's just like, but besides that, like everything else is relative. It's just like, it's weird. I am who I am, and I don't force anybody to be like me, right? There are certain things that I don't do because it's not for me. And I don't think that I'm better than anybody else. But if other people want to think that I think that I'm better than them because I choose not to do this or do that, like that's their thing. It's not mine. We all have our own things. And again, it's just like how we so easily fall into antagonistic relations with each other, even if we are to be like friends or whatever. It's another one of those limitations on true like kindness, generosity, love, compassion, support, and things like that. All right, let's get a final 2 or 3. I want claim flips or claim falls. But yeah, it's always been like weird to me. I'm like, okay, well, like I thought we were friends, and like I never treated you like you were less. I never treated you like you're dumb or stupid. Like I don't view you in that way. But it's like, oh, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. And it's like, okay. And it's different if like someone's just whatever. like there's a pointedness to it. And it's just like cool. Well, like one of my friends, not very popular, not popular at all, but for some reason would always try to like get in with the popular cool kids. Had an absolutely terrible like middle school, high school experience, but like was always and like we were friends. And of course, to me, it's like in hindsight, because there was a point when like that friend had to like come home for like a little bit of time and they were like reliving their high school, middle school experience. And I was like, they were like, I don't want to have to go back to this and that. And I'm like, I forget what I said, but it was like, he was like, these people like weren't friends with me or whatever, or like they were mean to me. And I was like, well, why? Like, you never, like, we could have hung out more type energy. Like, if you wanted a friend, you had friends. They weren't whoever. And I didn't take it personally because a lot of the people that they were like trying to get in with, I was cool with, but it was like through association. Like, we had classes together and I wasn't trying to hang out with them and do all the, again, like, I was into what I was into and I wasn't into what I wasn't into. I'm not going to some high school party and drinking and doing this and doing that because it's not me. And again, it was just one of those like, you, it just was what it was. It was like, okay. But, I had other friends too. So, and I also enjoy my own company. So it's like, if you don't want to hang out or whatever, girl, that's, that's on you. Cause I mean, it is what it is, but I'm going to enjoy my company and life happens, things move on. Priorities change, people change. I don't know. But that friend, like, they're happy now. They found their community, and it makes me really happy. Because again, like, the friend was a friend to me. Ultimately, um, and but like they found their tribe. They got like just had his kid like almost a year ago, and it seems like a lot of things are working out, and it makes me really happy. Because again, like, he is my friend and he doesn't have to, and like the community that he's found himself in, he has a platform now, like a pretty successful platform about something that he's always loved. And again, it's like, rather than trying to change himself to fit in with people who were not gonna like make that a pleasurable or easy experience, he really got into what he's always been into, and he's found like tribe and community that is about that thing, to the point where like he's hosting this person and that person within this organization, and like I don't know. I was like, I love that for you. you know? And I don't have to take all the other stuff like personally. I don't really. To me, it's just like, okay, well, that's weird, but fine. Like, you can, whatever makes you feel better. I'm not taking any of this personally. Um, I'm also not necessarily too whatever, you know. But anyway, he found his way. We have the Valley Flame Caller as the final card. If a lizard, mouse, otter, or raccoon you control would deal damage to a permanent or player, it deals that much damage +1 instead. Well, that's another night of research spoiled. Claire, the Batfolk astrologer. Another Batfolk person. This Valley Flame Caller is interesting, though, because what's at the bottom of the deck? This spirit is at the bottom of the deck. But we see the individual spirit. On the other side, there are multiple spirits. We've seen the friendly spirit. There's another one. Um, in that last card, it mentioned the valley, and I was gonna be like, they just say the valley, like the valley doesn't even have a name. What was it? Not enter the enigma raider or something raider, right? I don't know. It was like red. All right, I'm gonna just go to the red ones. I'm pretty sure it was red. I hope it was red. Ravine Raider, that's what it was. I don't think it was this shiny one, but it's the same. The path to the Cliff of Heroes is rife with bandits, expertly camouflaged in the dense flora of Valley. In the dense flora of Valley, you see Valley, capital V. The raiders hide in the flora of the valley. This valley flame caller is burning it all down. So the raiders will have nowhere to hide in this valley, in this ravine. But it's a level of destruction that makes me wince a little bit. Right. Because look at it. It's raining down fire. There's not, like, it's completely barren now. The raiders don't have anywhere to hide, but at the cost of the entire ecosystem of the valley. It gives an energy of like, what do you call them? Contingencies that like are unfavorable, severely unfavorable contingencies. Like you would not want to have the valley flame caller calling down flames in the valley. It will if it has to. The better route, the better way to go would be to not make it so. Right. And that could play into an energy of like, well, if there is this Keru City energy, if there are these portals and doorways, if there is an energy or a force or a opposition to all of the bad stuff, like why don't they just like step in and intervene, right? Like when it came to Keru City, with that Wakandan energy, it's like, well, how? Why did Keru City like let things go like this far or get this bad or whatever? Just because something or someone can intervene doesn't necessarily mean that they always should, and the way that they go about intervening doesn't necessarily, um, we may not even necessarily want it. Is it year two? No. um I forget the exact, I forget what was happening exactly, but it was like Samikiel Angel of Vengeance and Zadkiel Angel of Mercy. It was just like Vengeance and Mercy. I forget why. It was like some days ago, if not a week ago. I was like, oh, I should look between Samikiel and I think Zadkiel, Angel of Mercy, because the blade of Samikiel cuts both ways, right? So it's in that like, um, almost that, what is it? It is let he who was without sin cast the first stone, but it's this other saying. Don't throw stones when you live in glass houses or something like that. It's because it's just like if you have a problem or an issue, it's like it would be better if you could solve your problem or issue, work out your problem or issue, rather than it being escalated to like the CEO of a company, right? Like your boss, your manager, your supervisor is one thing. their boss manager and supervisor is another. But once it gets to like the C suite, like the CEO or the CFO or the CTO or the whoever O, the C whatever O, C letter O, it's like it's almost like, well, if they were to come, if this were to be brought to their attention, they may decide that it's better to just shut down the whole thing rather than even try. Because if it's going to create the kind of issue that's brought to their awareness and attention, it better be of a scale that like warrants it. Because if it's not, again, it's just it's more to them more inconvenient than it's worth. Um, and again, it's like if you don't have to torch the whole thing, sometimes it's better not to. I forget why though. It was something about maybe it was just vengeance and mercy, but it was something about the sort of Samikio cutting both ways. I'll read it from the book. Zadkiel, Angel of Mercy. Whoop, whoop, whoop. I remember the name of the angel. I've read it enough. Samikio, when the time comes, we all call its name. It is ever the instinct in our throat when we seek retribution. We choke on it even as we languish in every syllable. But those who call on Samikio without cause will have harm fall back upon them threefold. It is the way of Samikio's sword, cutting in both directions. While we will gird our fragile hearts against being hurt, pain will make its attempts on us by any means necessary. It is in our soul to survive at all costs, even if it means violence. Try to resist the urges of your barbed heart. Samikiel knows not forgiveness. Right? So it's that, whenever we are personally wronged, whenever we feel like we deserve justice, it's really easy to call for it. But true justice applies to everyone equally. And we aren't exempt or immune just because we're the ones that call for justice. We will be judged as well. When we call for justice, we're judged, and whatever we call for justice on is judged. But in the heat of the moment, when a wound is fresh, it's easy for us to forget our own transgressions, right? What is it in the Lord's Prayer? Forgive our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us. Something like that. It can be real easy. All right. I guess we'll just get one. I'll give it two and then I'll cut it. Looking between Samikio and Zadkiel. Bottom of the deck, Raziel, Angel of Mysteries, and Gabriel, Angel of Heralds. Interesting. So we have Zadkiel, Angel of Mercy, Hod, left leg submission, Chantel, Angel of Silence, Chokma, right eye wisdom, Da'at, void emptiness, Keter, the crown spirituality, Chesed, right hand empathy, Azaraphel, angel of song, Gavura, left hand judgment, Duma, angel of dreams, Kushiel, angel of punishment, and then Samikiel, angel of vengeance. That's a lot. I feel like there's a saying. but I can't think of it. But again, it's just that like be very, 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 very sure of things before calling for like justice or divine retribution or whatever. Punishment right before. So we have the angel of mercy, submission, the angel of silence, wisdom, null emptiness, spirituality, empathy, the angel of song, judgment, the angel of dreams, punishment, and vengeance. Angel of punishment, angel of vengeance. Um, it's that I don't know if it's like I feel like it's like tingling my brain on the tip of my tongue. I don't know if it's a saying though. It's just like be very, 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 very certain before you call for certain things or ask for certain things, especially when it comes to justice and what is deserved. It's like multiple fail safes. It's almost like a de escalation technique. All right, cool. I am going to get like a final one though. So maybe appreciate the armistice for what it is. And again, like whatever that, like the energy of the extreme faction of one who would continue to instigate violence rather than to give oneself over to peace, especially like an agreed upon peace. That in and of itself is telling. But I don't know, it's a caution against harsh judgment and acceptance for what is and to move forward into what is for someone, right? And it doesn't necessarily always have to come at the cost of like someone else's karma. It works out better for us if it doesn't. If we can just accept what is for us and move forward in our lives without the need to whatever someone else. Because just like there are things that they deserve, there are more often than not things that we deserve. Raziel, Angel of Mysteries, was Zachariel, Angel of Memory at the bottom of the deck. Mysteries and memory. All right, let's read Raziel. And then I'm going to go for real. Gabriel, there we go. Angel of Mysteries, the Keeper. Wow, not the Initiate, the Seeker, and the Keeper. The Keeper. Whoa. The Speaker of Truth. All knowledge is pressed within the binding of his book. Raziel stands at the foot of the tree of life and observes all of creation, ever the diligent witness, forever transcribing the whole of creation. The book is passed to Enoch during his journey into the tree of life. There are some things we simply cannot know. Such is the precious narrative of life. We can know the parts of the play, but not the story's end. Secrets and hidden endings keep the performance alight and dancing through the universe. Raziel wrapped on high, our ever-present observer. We dream and fill Raziel's book of mysteries. Our breath turns its pages. Exhale. Signs are a mask, a book, and codes. The Emperor holds that book. Is the Emperor Enochian energy? Is the Emperor like Bodhisattva, Enoch, Elijah now? It's not the Commander. Is it the Commander? No, I'm pretty sure it's the Emperor. The Emperor in the SKT Revelations holds a book. It's open. Holds an open book. We just saw the book. The book was the card that came out of the La Santa Muerte Lenormand, and it was open. The book is closed here. It was open in the book Lenormand. It's open in the Emperor card, but Raziel held a closed book. Anyway, take it if it resonates. Don't if it doesn't. Um, Going back to like the first sort of metaphor of someone getting something that they've been excited about for a really long time, just to find out that it's like crazy and chaotic or whatever. It's not what they thought. Um, it's almost like being a calming presence or guiding light in a situation. It's like a company that's like in the company, right? It's like struggling, but it's like there's a market that it doesn't know about, an audience. There's a viewpoint, a vantage point, something that gives context in the situation that can lead to success. And maybe that thing is held by you. And then it becomes the thing in reality that you've always dreamed it to be. Right. And like in doing so, especially within that metaphor, of course, there are going to be people and interdepartmental or intercompany factions that like things one way or another way. There are going to be people who think they know better, people who may very much so know better. Um, People who are going to be in that competition that may be antagonistic just to be antagonistic. Um, but like, don't let it stop you from doing what you are there to do. And maybe in time, they'll go from like antagonists to annoyances. And then maybe at some point, you'll learn to like work with them, even if they are annoyances, right? There's something that they can do by not just being like yes people, right? Being blindly antagonistic to something isn't necessarily always beneficial. But if there is truth to what they say, truth to like perspectives that you wouldn't consider, then there is still valuable insight that can be gleaned and a better idea, proposal, or direction that can be chosen. Right. So, yeah. Oof, we kind of muddled through that one, but we got somewhere after an hour and a half. I hope you all have an amazing whenever you see this. I hope you're acting in alignment to make all that you wish to experience your reality. I hope that whatever you need along your path journey and what you find. Thanks, David, for stopping by. And I feel like at this point, there is so. I don't necessarily want to be the whole like, there is so much happening that like I'd rather not say anything about anything. But like, I remember in the final days of like North Node Aries, when everyone was talking about the energy of what North Node Pisces is going to be in the age of Aquarius, and it's going to be so loving and this and compassion that there are going to be so many planets in Pisces, like, and I was like, when I hear people talk about that kind of energy, and I look at people in the world and the people that I observe, it's like if that's what the energy is, and if we are where we are, what does it take for humanity to be like truly compassionate? How many of us are capable of a compassion and sympathy and empathy to alien circumstances and situations? For how many of us do we have to be like directly impacted or affected to care? And just that in and of itself alone was like, oof, it sounds like things are about to get ugly. Because unfortunately, the narrative of humanity and people has been that they only care when they're personally affected. And we so easily discard or buy into narratives that villainize or paint others in a bad light because we're not getting what we think we deserve or what narratives tell us we should or what any kind of anything. And it becomes so easy to sacrifice empathy and compassion and true love for the material, right? For what should be ours by birthright, be it spiritual or otherwise. And of course, it doesn't make, like, we never stop deserving love or compassion or empathy. And of course, my heart goes out to so many people affected by so many things in this country and around the world. And unfortunately, sometimes the people who pay the price aren't the ones who make the purchases. Um, yeah, I don't know. Usually, like, I feel like I get on here and I say something, and I don't know, maybe this was my, like, it's not that I don't care. And it's not that I think things are going to get even worse. Um, I don't know. It's just, I don't know, you know? Maybe it's like empathic burnout, kind of. Not really, but it's maybe it's also partially like quite a bit of what we experience is not surprising. Almost like, we were told and then it happened. And probably it may like be worse than we thought. Maybe some of us didn't think that we would be affected or impacted. Um, the reality of a thing is always different. Not more often than not, the reality of a thing is much different than the threat or the promise of it, on either side. But yeah, I guess like my heart goes out to a lot of people, most people, if not everyone. Um, and yeah, so see y'all later.